So, what is true knowledge? Tat jnanam prashamanakaram yad indriyanam. Prashamanam is quietening, and true knowledge is that which quietens these senses, indriyanam, the senses, all the senses. And I'm sure you can make this connection now to meditation, because that's what one is trying to aim at in bringing that stillness in mind. But if you know meditation, meditation is not really for relieving stress. It cannot be done in a stressed mind. If you have heard or read BKS Iyengar, one of the top uh, yogis from India. So he says that the mind needs to be stress free to be able to do the meditation. Okay. But that's a side thing. Now, that's the idea here. It is not something that we are getting into some thrill of knowing something. The idea is that we go beyond what appears like factual knowledge. We get connected with life, and that happens only when the mind is still. That means we have to go beyond the normal sensory perceptions, and Jyotisha is about that. We are going to connect with the divine forces. It cannot happen if the mind is running around here and there, trying to get excited with knowing something. That's not the point here. We have to quieten the mind and go beyond the sensory perceptions, because what's needed is that intuition to develop. So when we read things like Saturn planet restricts things, slows things, that's something factual, but that is not the real or complete meaning. To understand the complete meaning, we have to go beyond what's written or said in a literal way, because there are other subtler elements behind that, and this whole thing is connected to the philosophy of life. And that's what I would like to come out of this learning as part of this course, to connect with the life and the life philosophy, which is what is behind this astrology. I'm going to tell about the nature of this true knowledge, and I will use 4 Sanskrit verses related to that, but I'll cover only one in this audio. And I will also explain why we are doing this and how it's related to the study of astrology. The first one, Jnana Jnana Vilasoyam Jnana Jnane cha pashyati Jnana Jnane parityajya Jnanamevavashishyate. It sounds so rhythmic and also like a tongue twister. So jnana jnana vilasoyam. So jnana ajnana vilasaya. This is the play of knowledge and ignorance. Knowledge is jnanam, ignorance is ajnanam. Jnana jnane, in knowledge and ignorance, chapashyati, it is seen. Second line is jnana jnane again. Parityajya. Parityajya is renouncing, or as we saw in the bhava sequence, vairagya bhava, let go, renounce. In renouncing both knowledge and ignorance, jnana mevavashishyate, knowledge alone remains. Avashishyate remains. And here, knowledge alone remains. This knowledge is the true knowledge. Okay. And this sounds confusing. On the one hand, we say renounce knowledge and ignorance, and true knowledge remains. What does it mean? So, let me take this example of some observation in astrology, and you find that Jupiter is about one's discriminative power, ability to have a global view on things, to have that divine wisdom. And if somebody's chart shows Jupiter to be in a debilitated position, then the observation would be that the person will be having a lot of difficulty in discriminating properly, using the wisdom. It can be used by others because it's gullible. Now, this is a form of knowledge, right? And if this is true, which is what is indicated by the horoscope, the observation in that. So, given this, now it has become kind of a fact. How will you guide the person? How will you give hope to the person or help the person build faith to overcome this lack, you can say, indicated by this astrological observation? So, this is the kind of knowledge where we get stuck. Now we don't know how to guide the person. On the one hand, it shows debilitated ability to discriminate properly. And now we have to contradict the same and give hope to the person. So, this is what here this verse says. You renounce that as well. That knowledge is not the real knowledge. The real knowledge is in renouncing both knowledge and ignorance. The real knowledge is something deeper. It is this that we need to tap or connect to, because there is an underlying life and life principle which is below this, or you can say the substratum under the thing that we think as knowledge and think as ignorance. Once you connect to this substratum, we will realize that there is a power lying deeper, which is what is appearing like these various forms of presence of intellect or lack of intellect. So, if we connect to this, and once we connect to it, we will know that there is an ability for a person to become resilient, to overcome what's seen as this observation of lack of intellect, because the true knowledge is beyond what we think as knowledge or ignorance. And that's where the Vairagya Bhava fits in. It's a very deep, very profound, and massive concept. It appears simple in terms of yogasana and to hear it, but it's really profound. And that is important because that triggers us to think, and now you can connect it to this verse. So I'll just repeat the verse once more. Jnana jnana vilaso yam jnana jnane cha pashyati jnana jnane parityajya jnanameva vashishyate. So I will stop at this point. There are other three verses where I will talk about how knowledge is seen as a witness of thoughts. I spoke about moving from purified mind to liberated mind. So this is what this will lead to in knowing the true knowledge, and then how this knowledge and ignorance are seen as non-apprehension and misapprehension, and how that pure true knowledge is considered in the experiences we have. So while we learn many things as a body of knowledge in astrology, the point here is we should not get attached to it so much that we become fixed in our mindsets. The growth is possible only when we renounce the very thing that we consider or respect as knowledge. We should be able to renounce that. That's when the growth can happen, because its life substratum is beyond this. And that is what gives the ability to be resilient, to be adaptable, to be understanding to others. So, this is the, you can say, a paradox. We have to be aware and also realize. Then you will really benefit from it. Okay, thank you.